Welcome to the Best of series. This group of shows will highlight the best of some of my most popular topics from this season and prior seasons. As we round the end of 2023, setting yourself up to not get hella overwhelmed by the holiday trifecta isn't always easy. So buckle up, grab your favorite note-taking device, and get ready to take action toward the change you want to see. See you inside the episode. Welcome to We Ain't Normal. My name is Charmaine Fuller, and I'm an everyday mom sharing how I navigate my ADHD brain. Each week, we share tools, inspiration, and resources to help you uncover how to reclaim your time, energy, and focus. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Now on to our show.
I do believe, though, that all of us have how do I want to say it? We all have a category that we tend to stick to, and it's okay if that category looks like a different category one day or 1 week. But so what I mean is, I am typically a classic like I like classic styles. What I don't like is to fit in a classic box. So I incorporate other pieces of categories into my look. So my classic may look like I may have a 3-piece suit on, but I really like interesting jewelry. So I'm going to throw on a pair of funky earrings, or I am going to grab a hand-painted clutch, that type of thing. So a lot of people think that just because they are typically a classic or typically very eclectic, that they have to stick to that in every single piece of clothing that they have. And that's just not true. You are allowed to dabble and to mix up your look. But the base of it generally is one category. But you are allowed to mix and match. You are allowed. Yeah. I have I heard, and this has been with me since I've heard it, Tracy Reese, who is a Detroiter, her line is called Flowers of Dreams or Dreams of Flowers. Please forgive me, but it is readily available to look up on the internet. But she said something one time on a panel. She said that we have lost the legacy of fashion.
Oh.
So what that means is our great grandmothers could have had an item, and as the years go on, the hippier and the more curvier we got. But they started off pretty small back in the day. But an item like, let's just use a handbag as an example. We can actually create legacy through fashion. And this is something that I'm really passionate about: slow fashion. So slow fashion means that you're not necessarily going to a retail store to pick something off the rack. You're passing it down from generation to generation to generation, which means that's why these tailors and these seamstress people, these artisans is what I call them, are so important, because they can adjust things while keeping the integrity of the piece in the family. So this is another reason why these magical people, I call them, are just so vital to fashion and to sustainable fashion. I mean, we can go out every day and pick up a piece from what's an inexpensive fast Forever 21 or H&M,
something like that. Yeah.
And I'm not mad at nobody, because sometimes I go there too. But we can do that, or we can pass down pieces that are of quality from generation to generation to create legacy. So that and so if we could move into talking about using our style in an intentional way.
Yes.
I am really big on that also. Being prepared in terms of planning it out from, okay, I'm going to go to this place first. I'm going to talk to this person. This is what we're going to talk about. This is the end goal. All of these things that I am mentioning have everything to do with your style. And so if we're not prepared, our confidence could be lacking.
Yeah.
As well. And so if our confidence is lacking because we're not necessarily dressed the part, based on where we are or who we're going to talk to or what we're going to talk about, if our confidence lacks, then chances are that meeting's not going to go too well. You're not going to be your best self. You're not going to settle into the confident person that you need yourself to be to win the deal, to get the next meeting, that sort of thing. So I always tell my clients, let's set our intentions. For example, one of the clients that I've worked with, she has a law practice and she is getting ready to step into another space politically. And so that's going to look a completely different way than her owning or being
Exactly.
the boss of her own firm. So now we have to set an intention. We have to do our research. I'm going to say that again. We got to do our research to figure out what that looks like in that space. And guess what? You don't need to lose your personal style when you get into a space. You just need to know how your personal style fits, how you can fit it in that personal space and still be appropriate and still be perceived as prepared.
But we all have our own way. And Feng Shui also taught me how to be myself on purpose by understanding what it is in my nature that drives me. And when I connect with that, I am unstoppable. I can be on fire. I can get whatever it is I want. But when I think I'm supposed to be something I'm not because I see how successful the person who is, everything kind of comes to a halt
Yeah.
or it's not sustainable. Because for me, I found out feng shui is fluid. And a
Mm.
very interesting comment, when I was doing my first year certification, we had to submit case studies. We had to do 10 case studies, combine, residential, people we knew, people, strangers that we didn't know, office, business. And I remember I did my boss's office and she happened to be Chinese. And after I did her office, she said to me, wow, I was always a little bit concerned about having someone do some feng shui for me because I thought once I did it, that was it. I had to keep it. And
Wow.
she had no idea that it's fluid, that it's in the present. This is appropriate now. And when you understand the principles of what we're doing, what we're talking about, then you have the tools to shift and change your rhythm as it benefits you most. Because as you said, what works today may not be the right thing for tomorrow or next week. And
Right.
it's important to know what it is that you're doing and why. And I always give the reasons, the information when I work with someone one-on-one, because if they don't understand the purpose, it's not sustainable. I am not a Chinese man living in China 3,000 years ago, coming in with my incense and robes and all reverent. That was a cultural connection to some very fabulous principles. But we have to be practical where we are today and
Yes.
how we're living. And the most important thing is connecting to who you are, where you are, and how is what's happening around you. Is it supporting you? Is it holding you back? Is it dragging you down? Is it giving you the oomph? Or is it distracting you so you're not even focused on what's important for the time? And especially those of us who live in an area where we have different seasons, you can really see the difference in the defining of the 4 seasons. Well, we go through different cycles in our archetype as well. We go through different cycles, 9-year cycles. The first year
Yeah.
is a more planning, quiet year, moving all the way up to our peak. Now, we have these annual cycles, but when we microcosm it down, we have the monthly, weekly. So understanding the rhythm of what we are attuning with is really powerful. And the beauty of the Feng Shui of your soul, which, as I like to call, a Feng Shui, not only your space, but your soul. We are more than our birth dates. How can someone born on the same day, same year, be so different? The
Right.
answer is it's in your physicality. In Feng Shui, we not only look at your natal chart, we look at your face, your hair, your body type, how you express yourself. What are you wearing? How are you showing up? That has just as much impact as the numbers. And to be complete, you are everything. You are not just one piece of a puzzle. You are the entire puzzle. And it's important to look at all the pieces and how they all fit and work together to get the right information, to get that powerful way of being. Have you ever had a pair of pants that the button broke and you felt like the side zipper kept inching down all day, even though nobody could see it? It wrecked the
Yes.
whole day. All I could think about is are my pants going to fall off? Oh, that zipper's falling down. Now I'm pinched. The entire day, one little thing is throwing me off. Well, imagine there's something in your space that's like a button that fell off. And you've decided, I'm not going to pay attention to it.
But
And
you are paying attention
but you
to it.
are, because a part of you is going, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh, here it is. And you're setting yourself up for a conversation you don't even know that you're having.
When I work with people, I work with, badass women who feel like a hot mess, who have been trying to get their clutter together for so long, and they have done everything right. And it's so hard when you're out there doing all the things that you are reading about or watching on TV, and it's just not working. And the number one thing that people say is like, oh, it must be me. I must be genetically predisposed to be cluttered, and that's never the truth. But it's so hard because that's the message we're given when we look at the world, and we're doing everything that they're telling us to do. But the problem is, depending on how your brain is wired and how you function, like 80% of those organizing books that are out there may not be written for how your brain works. So we have to start getting creative with how we create systems and solutions that work for you that may not work for what people are shouting from the top of the mountains. Yeah. And, one of the greatest things that I think that we can just lean into and enjoy is the solution is buried in the problem. If I come to your house and you tell me that there's an area that you can't get organized, I know without a doubt, with 100% certainty, that the basis of the system that's going to work for you is buried in that clutter. It's either the way you're using it, something works for you, it's fulfilling some purpose. And unfortunately, the world of self-help, the world of organizing has told us if we don't do it this one cookie cutter way, we're wrong and failing. And so what we end up with is feeling like a failure. We feel like we're breaking down that trust with ourselves, when the truth is that you are doing something right. Even if your house can barely be walked in, you've got clutter everywhere, you are doing something right. And my job is to help you figure out what you're doing right and build on that, because that's how we create true change. That's how we shift your entire world, by reevaluating your clutter. Like, we assume that the solution is so far outside of ourselves, and it's not. It's right here. Like, what would the world look like if you weren't the problem? What would the world look like if you were actually doing it right? It makes me think of, you had Janelle Jones on a few weeks ago, and she talked about shiny object syndrome. Like, it's this, I call it the silver bullet syndrome, right? It's like the idea that something outside of ourselves will come and save us. Like, this will be the thing, like this planner is going to change my life, man. And there's beauty in the hope of that. It's like, it shows us that we're still alive and we're wanting to move forward. But, the idea of like being present to ourselves and looking for the solution that already exists, like just being present to what is, like, there is always a solution here right now without you having to spend a dollar, do heavy lifting, it's like, and really, I think that's like when we can stop looking. And I think this is one of the things I love about your podcast is it speaks to, people who have ADHD who were maybe diagnosed later in life. And it's like, you had a lifetime of feeling like there was something wrong with you and you weren't measuring up for how the rest of the world was going. And then you get this diagnosis and you're like, oh, wait, my brain just works differently. And
Right.
unfortunately, the way that our world works is it doesn't say, oh my gosh, congratulations, you have a superpower. It says, oh, I'm so sorry, but you have a diagnosis. Like, it's so like heavy. Instead of being like, hey, so instead of wasting your time doing X, Y, and Z, you need to delegate and outsource those things. But what you do brilliantly is, A, B, and C. Go. Like, it would be
Yes.
such a different world if we did that.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode and it freed you to see your life a bit differently. Make sure to check out those show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's episode with all the important links and resources. If you want weekly exclusive episodes with me personally, make sure to sign up for my Simplify My Life newsletter. I'd love to know what you enjoyed about this episode, so leave a review to let me know how I can continue to support you. So Mama, I want you to know, you're doing much better than you think. You're further than you believe, and you're worthy to have it all. So until next time, stay weird and keep doing you, babe.